Good evening. Good evening. And welcome to the very first episode of Bronco Talk. Some of you that do know me from mostly doing Arsenal podcasts and talking about European football. But now I want to talk a little bit about American football and mostly leaning towards the NFL. Obviously, I'm a Denver Broncos fan, so we're going to mostly focus on the Denver Broncos on this channel. But there will be some regular NFL talk regarding the rest of the league. But without further ado, let's start with the first massive news story. The massive news story of the day, and that is that the Denver Broncos have re-signed Garrett Bowles to a 4-year extension. Garrett Bowles was drafted, if I'm not mistaken, in the 2017 NFL draft. He has spent his whole career here in Denver, and he's going to be a Bronco at least for the next 4 years. He was an older rookie. I think he was 26 when he was drafted. I believe he went on a mission. He was a Mormon. And, so he, if you're looking at here, his 20th overall pick in the 2017 draft. He has started 111, 12 games for the team. 13 games this season and 30 consecutive contests dating back to 2023. Let's see. Which this is good news for Bo Nix to get the veteran to be signed. And obviously it's a 4-year deal. Usually the fourth year of the deal is kind of the team sometimes might either waive the person or depending on how that works. But congratulations to Garrett Bowles on getting a new deal with the Denver Broncos. This is good news for Bo Nix and good news for the Broncos, obviously on two fronts. First of all, you'll have Bo Nix will have himself a left tackle that'll be sitting there next to him. And then you've got that changes the draft mentality, which a lot of people potentially were thinking that the Broncos would look at an offensive lineman in this year's upcoming draft. Could be a tight end, could be a wide receiver. We don't know, but we know the left tackle position will not be utilized in the first round. With that being said, other news in the Broncos injury report. Riley Moss did not practice today, and Brandon Jones, starting safety, was limited in practice. As you know, Riley Moss got injured in the Raiders game with an MCL. Probably is not going to play Sunday against the Colts. Brandon Jones, he was limited in practice. There's a potential he will probably start. Pretty good injury report list for the Broncos. Obviously, Riley Moss is a massive miss considering last week the Browns almost had 500 yards passing on the Denver Broncos. So Riley Moss is absolutely needed back in this team. Levi Wallace was the corner who was tasked with being the starter. And unfortunately for him, he got torched and eventually was replaced by Abrams Drain, who was a rookie, 5th-round pick, I believe. So that's the big news there. Injury report. Let's see if we got anything else. Let's see. Those are the big news in Broncos country headed into the weekend. The contract extension, the Broncos obviously played last Monday night against the Cleveland Browns and defeated the Cleveland Browns 41-32. With that being said, you've got the Indianapolis Colts coming into this week, which is going to be a massive game for the Broncos. With that being said, it's just so huge. This is in fact, to give light into how big of a deal this is, I'll go ahead and pull up the give me a second. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the let's see here. Let's see, how do I share this screen? There we go. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the playoff rankings, what we've got going on here. The 2024 NFL playoff. Let's go. All right, here we go. Share this differently. And let's see, share screen. And there we go. Cool. All right. So as you can see here, Super Bowl will be in New Orleans this year. But let's go ahead and look at the playoff standings as it is right now. The Chiefs and the Bills have clinched a spot in the AFC. And of course, the Lions and the Eagles have clinched spots in the NFC. Looking over here at the AFC, we got the Steelers sitting in third place, Texans at fourth with the fourth seed right now. And this is also to bear in mind, the Chiefs would win the AFC West. The Bills will probably end up winning the AFC East. You'll have the Steelers will probably win the North, and then the Texans will be the South division champs, with the Ravens sitting at fifth and the Chargers sitting at sixth, and the Denver Broncos sitting at 8-5 in seventh place, with obviously looking right here a bubble team in the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are sitting at 6-7. The Broncos have a game and a half advantage over them. And as you can see, it's week 15. This is the game. If the Broncos lose, their probability will be at 46%. If they're currently at 73% chance of making the playoffs. If they win on Sunday, those chances bump up to 89%. So as you can see, this Sunday's game against the Colts is massive. The Colts, obviously, right now, if they lose, their playoff probability will drop to 7%. And if they beat the Broncos, it'll bump up to 56% and would have the tiebreaker over the Denver Broncos. As you can see here, ninth spot, you've got the Miami Dolphins sitting at 6-7 with a critical game against Houston on Sunday. We'll go over my NFL picks for the week. But as you can see, this game between the Broncos and the Colts is massive, massive implications. So, yeah, let's go look into the actual matchup between both of these teams. All right. Let's go look. Broncos and Colts. Let's go over here. So, let me pull this up just a little bit. Let's go home. But yeah, so this weekend is so huge for the Denver Broncos. It'll be a home game, 4:25 start. Let's see. I'm trying to find the actual. There we go. Let's go to teams and let's go to the Broncos. But yeah, this is we're in the home stretch, the final 4 games of the year. Final 4 weeks. All teams have completed their bye weeks. Here we go. Denver Broncos and the Indianapolis Colts. Tom. So 4:25 in Power Field. You can see here's the line. The Broncos are a 3.5-point favorite. The over/under is 44.5. Here's some of the key statistics in this game. Both teams' offenses are in the bottom half of the league. Denver being 21st on the year ranked, and Colts at 23. As you can see, the Broncos have advantage in defense. They have the 8th ranked defense. They're also number 1 in the league in sacks. Passing, as you can see, 26th for the Colts, and then 21st for the Broncos, and obviously rushing 14th for the Colts, and the Broncos are sitting at 20th. The last time these two teams meet, and this was absolutely in the preseason, the Broncos won 34-30. With that being said, I do think this game is going to be ever so critical for the whole AFC playoff picture. And, we'll go a little bit further into the stats right now, in a couple of minutes about the Indianapolis Colts and, their struggles on offense, that being their passing game. Their strength is running the football with Jonathan Taylor. But overall, they have had their struggles with Anthony Richardson at quarterback. And right now, they're only a 3.5-point favorite, the Broncos are. And I think that also plays into the fact that Anthony Richardson is very elusive. He tends to – he's a big physical quarterback. I think he's 6'4", about 250. He almost looks as big as a running back, and they just play differently with him. The Colts do. Like he's a big real threat. His arm is a little inaccurate at times. And we'll go ahead and I'll pull up the passing charts for him. Let's go add this in here and share. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna go look at Anthony Richardson's stats. This is his the first game of the year. Actually, this is week 1. Yeah. So week 1, 12 of 24. Let's see. Let's go to week 1 for him, and let's go to the Colts. There we go. All right, Anthony Richardson's first game of the year. He was 9 of 19, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. So you can see where his completions of 10 yards. Let's see all Anthony Richardson's charts. I specifically want to look at the most recent game he played in. This is week 13. I think this is against the Patriots. 12 of 24, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's going to present problems for the Broncos. I would, if to sit here and to tell you that I'm not worried about this game for the Broncos in general, I would be lying to you. The big issue, I think, what's going on, Sam? I think the big issue is going to be containing Anthony Richardson and his legs and making him uncomfortable in the pocket where he'll have to make throws and not allowing him to get out. This game does scare me because I think of what Lamar Jackson was able to do to the Broncos in, I think, week 9, where they lit the Broncos up. And I'm not sitting here predicting that the Colts are going to win this game, but there is definitely cause for concern based on his athleticism. So he does cause a lot of concerns for Vance Joseph. But let's go ahead and let's go look at this. The Colts. The Indianapolis Colts. Let me find it real quick here. Let's go look at their schedule coming into this game. And let's go. All right, so let me present this, and here we go. All right. Colts' last game was against the Patriots. They won that 25-24. It was a thrilling game. They ended up scoring a touchdown late in the game. It went for 2. And the Patriots had a legit chance to win that game at the end of the regulations. I think they had 19 seconds left, and the Patriots did 2 10-yard passes and tried like a 68-yard field goal. Patriots ended up losing. Before that, they were beat pretty handily by the Detroit Lions, 24-6. They beat the Jets 28-27. There you go, 2 big 1-point wins. Lost to the Bills by 10. Lost to the Minnesota Vikings. Let's see here. Lost to the Texans. Beat the Dolphins. Obviously, Tua wasn't playing that game. They beat the Titans. They have only 1 win against the team with a winning record, and that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers, which they beat in week 4. And if I'm not mistaken, that was also the not the Russell Wilson version, but the actual Justin Fields version of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't believe they had made the switch over yet. But needless to say, the Colts are coming in 6-7. They are likely you've gotten the Colts to win. Okay. I mean, again, there's not them potentially winning the game would not surprise me based on the problems that Richardson's is going to give you. In the problem also the Broncos will have not having Riley Moss. You can't really cover down on their wide receivers as effectively as you could because you run man coverage. So basically Surtain would be on one wide receiver and Riley Moss on the other. So you would be able to kind of take away 2 guys Now that there's, will the game film from the Cleveland game where Jameis Winston had success against the Broncos, will that be something that Anthony Richardson and the Colts look at? If I was the Colts, I would look at that. Not knowing Riley Moss is there, not knowing who that second cornerback is going to be replacing Riley Moss is the question. But yeah, so as you can see, 6 and 7, the Colts come in. So let's go ahead and let's do a little stat diving here before we go. There we go. St. Louis Rams and the Oakland Raiders. There you go. So yeah, let's do a little pivot here. I'm gonna go look at some team rankings. Give me 1 second. So I'm a big stat guy. I don't really completely live or die by stats, but I also think they tell stories, especially Walgreens, Pro Plan. Anyway, so the big stats I'm a big fan of is third down conversion rates. So when it comes to third down conversions per game, and a lot of it is subjective. You potentially could have a team that's on the field a lot and they have a bad third down conversion rate because they don't pick up first downs that often. Or you have a team like Kansas City who has a decent offense. They average about 7.2 third down conversions per game. If you look down here, Indy's at 4.5 third down conversions per game. And the Denver Broncos are at they're tied for 9th with the rest of the league at 5.1 third down conversions by game. Turnovers is another massive one. Interceptions thrown per game. As you can see here, Indianapolis only throws 1.1 picks per game. It's 30th in the league. It's one of the worst rates. But you also have up here, Denver is, and Bo Nix has been really good with the ball. He's at 0.6 interceptions per game. So these are just a little bit of some of the averages. Scoring offense. I did find this also very interesting looking at both teams. Offense in the first half. As you can see in the league, Detroit averaged 18 points in the first half of the game, first and second quarter. The Denver Broncos are averaging right now 12.2 points in the first half, while the Indianapolis Colts are averaging 9. And then here, second half teams that have adjustments. And this is also a skewed stat potentially based on teams being behind in the game. Let's see here. The Denver Broncos are rated at 16th in the league, while Indy's at 13th. So they're a very good second half football team. Well, that being said, they could be chasing the game. But let's go look at some of the comments section here. My missus has showed up. Hello, Holly. Good luck to the Duchess of Broncosbury. Their marketing was great. Yes, the Oakland Raiders did a really good job in embracing the LA culture, and I'm surprised that they didn't end up going to Los Angeles permanently. Lisa. So yeah, let's get a little deeper into this. I'm going to pull up some more statistics here. Let me find what I'm looking for here. Where are you at? NFL stats, charts. Procedure. Let's see here. Let's go look into the divisions real quick. Coming into this game, you can see the Bills have clinched. Dolphins sitting at 6 and 7, Jets at 3 and 10, Patriots at 3 and 10. Steelers are leading in the AFC North 10 and 3, and the Ravens falling at 8 and 5. And here's what is also in stake for the Indianapolis Colts coming into this game. You have the Texans are sitting at 8 and 5. They have Miami this weekend. The Colts are 6 and 7, sitting in second place, pretty handily over the Jags and the Titans, who are a dumpster fire right now at 3 and 10 apiece. So you're looking at here also within conference, the Colts are 5 and 4, the Broncos are 4 and 4. So that's, remember I said critical this game is if the Broncos win this game, they would increase their AFC record to 5 and 4, while the Colts would go to 5 and 5. if the Broncos dropped this game, the Colts would go to 6-4, and the Broncos would go to 4-5 with games against the Chargers, Bengals, and Chiefs left. And this could be the season for the Denver Broncos. Don't even really want to overstate that, but that's exactly what it is this weekend for them. This is a make or break weekend. Let's go into some stats here heading into this game. As you can see, and here's the thing with Anthony Richardson. I can pull this up, make sure everybody can see it. Anthony Richardson currently is a 47% passer, 1,500 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 9 picks. That's not a good stat line at all, not even remotely. Most NFL quarterbacks need to be at 60%. Where he makes up for it, 70 attempts, almost 400 yards rushing. So, that's almost 5 yards a pop. Anthony Richardson, he's just a freak of nature when it comes to his body size. But if you look here also, they're just not a very good passing team. As you can see, they only have 2,500 yards passing. Broncos have 2,717. And the argument is, are the Broncos a really good passing team? Because you're only telling me they're 200 yards better. Yeah, the Broncos have elevated. If you want to go look at the first few games under Bo Nix and Sean Payton, the passing wasn't very good, but it's increased over the last 7 to 8 weeks. But yeah, both these offenses have struggled at times this year. The Indianapolis Colts have thrown 14 interceptions, and 5 of those interceptions were with Joe Flacco. So they really haven't been good at all this year. Indianapolis allows 24 sacks. Denver's only allowed 19. And this is going to be the big matchup, the Indianapolis offensive line versus the Denver defensive line. Can the Denver defensive line and pass rushers actually take down Anthony Richardson? Third down conversions rate, they're both about 36, 37% on the year. Denver's more penalized than them. As you can see here, the Denver's defense is better than the Colts. The Colts have allowed 5,100 yards. Let's see what else is pertinent here. Denver's intercepted the ball 12 times. Here you go. The sack. This is number 1 in the league, too. 47 sacks from the Denver Broncos. Nick Bonito with 10 on the year. Here's your allowed third down efficiency. This is a defensive stat. 45% of the times you go against Indy on third down, you'll pick up a first down. The Broncos at 37%. But yeah, so that's the basic stat breakdown for the Colts. And we're going to look at your Denver Broncos. Bo Nix, 63% on the year, 17 touchdowns, 8 picks, 2,800 yards. Javonte Williams is another is your other running back, and Jaleel McLaughlin. The running game hasn't been very successful for Denver this year. And we're about to go into that a little deeper here in a second. As you can see, Cortland Sutton's having a great year. Devon Bailey, the 7th-round pick out of Utah, 33 receptions on the year, massive on third down. See where he's standing right there. But yeah, so let's do this real quick. Yes, the Broncos are the favorites. In fact, I'm going to set up some stats. So let's do a little interlull real quick here. I will be right back.
Third and 8 from the 32-yard line.
So we'll interval. I'm going to work on that so I can transition to everything. Maybe get a small little video here and there. But I'm going to answer this question real quick, Tom. How would you say that Denver stacks up offensively compared to, say, the Lions or Green Bay or even Kansas City? So, all right, here we go. I think from a passing perspective, I think Denver Broncos could probably do okay with Green Bay. Here's the thing. The Denver Broncos don't have a very good running game, and they don't really have a very good tight end position. They're not very good at that position, which I would argue that Detroit has a good tight end. Green Bay has good tight ends. And Kansas City, of course, has Travis Kelce, who will probably go down as one of the greatest of all time to do it. I mean, it's one of those deals where I would say they're I don't think they're in their same league right now. With that being said, I still think the Denver's defense would keep them in the game. But Detroit is on they're so good. And they've scored 52 points twice this year. I think they beat if I'm not mistaken, they beat the tar out of the Titans. And then they beat another team 52-6. It may have been the Saints. But they are really cooking with grease. Jared Goff is, St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams. It's just a very good football team. So Denver doesn't have those weapons. What I would say Denver has right now, and I'm obviously biased, is I think Bo Nix is this player that is becoming an elite not elite, but he's got the potential to be an elite quarterback. I don't think Jared Goff is a super elite quarterback. He's surrounded by really good pieces, and I think Bo Nix is one of these guys that could eventually grow into the same stature that if you put those kind of weapons around him, he would do very well. But again, I'd argue if you literally put a lot of quarterbacks in this league with the pieces that Detroit has, I think that they would succeed significantly with that. But that's an interesting question. Let's go ahead and look at this. And I wanted to bring up the running game because I mentioned the Broncos were struggling on running, and Javonte Williams has roughly 450 some yards on the year, while Jaleel has been a little bit less productive. But this is part of the statistics, and I wonder if anybody can see this. So it's not doing well. Well, anyway, we'll do this. So here's the thing. This is basically a breakdown of the snaps that each player is on the field for each game. So the Broncos took 66 snaps in week 13 against the Cleveland Browns. Javonte Williams took 45% of those snaps, 30 snaps. 30 plays. He played 30 plays on offense. Jaleel played 24. Michael Burton, who plays fullback, was at 13. Audric Estime came in at 8. So here's the deal that I'll show that differently. So week 12, Javonte against the Raiders took 56% of the snaps, 38 plays. When you go look at the difference, you'll understand exactly why they're doing that. And it's pretty simple. If you go look at the running backs here, I'm going to bring up Javonte's numbers from Cleveland. So Javonte Williams had 4 carries, 1 yard, and 1 touchdown. So you're like, so why is he playing a percentage of snaps? It's pretty simple. Javonte Williams is really good in pass protection. Jaleel McLaughlin is a smaller bodied back, so he does a lot of the running, catching out of the backfield. But the reason that Javonte Williams is still playing the majority, even though his rushing numbers are abysmal, is because he can do pass protection for Bo Nix. So the problem the Broncos have is the running game hasn't really taken off. And if you go look at the Jaleel had 14 carries for 84 yards on Monday night versus the Browns. Audric Estime came in 3 for 12. That's 4 yards a pop. That's pretty decent. And then you can go back and look. Javonte against Atlanta, 9 carries, 59 yards, 4 catches, 28 yards, making catches out of the backfield. Jaleel, 4 for 19 against the Falcons. Well, here's another interesting stat. You go back to week 10, Kansas City. Javonte had 1 carry, 1 yard, 2 catches, 6 receptions, while the rookie Audric Estime out of the 5th round out of Notre Dame, 14 rushes, 53 yards. So as you can see here with the numbers, the Broncos really don't know who their running back is. You would argue that based on what I've said, you'll argue that potentially, yeah, hey, Javonte is the guy, but is Javonte really the guy? That's the question. And the thing that I think the Broncos have, and this is why I'm looking at this game on Sunday for the Broncos, like you have to run the football. Like you have to be committed to running the football. They talk about this a lot. Teams always talk about, yeah, we want to run the football. That's our identity. Well, then prove it. And teams will abandon it so quickly, though, if it doesn't go well. Your first down, if you run, you pick up 2 yards. Now you're at 2nd and 8. And then you end up getting stuffed. Now you're at 3rd and 8. Now the playbook becomes a little bit wonky about whether you're trying to, make it a quick 4th down or whether you're trying to get within a couple yards. So I'm interested to see the Broncos if the keys to the game is A, contain Anthony Richardson. He's going to be a problem. He's an athletic quarterback. Defensively, cause a couple sacks. I think 3 sacks would be what I would ideally try to hope from this defense. Force a couple turnovers. And then on top of that, establish the run. Utilize the run. This is a game right here because you got the Chargers coming up. You got the Bengals coming up, and you got the Chiefs coming up. Run the ball. And I'd love to see 150 yards. The Broncos have gone 29 games without a 100-yard rusher. 29 games. And this is a franchise that had Floyd Little, Terrell Davis, Clinton Portis, C.J. Anderson. We haven't had a 100-yard rusher in 30 games. The team has run for 100 yards, but not an individual person that can get 100 yards. So anyway, so there's the stats. It's roughly about 2 years of stats, 2 years of games, basically. And again, Russell Wilson struggled here with this offense. Sean Payton has done a marvelous job turning this team over. But yeah, so lastly, let's see what else we got here. I wanted to look at one more thing, and this was actually going to be with the receivers too. I want to pivot to them too, because the Broncos did make a move. Obviously, this channel wasn't going on during that time, but the Broncos waived Josh Reynolds. As you can see, he only played 5 games for the Denver Broncos. This was the player that was had an incident late at night, ended up getting shot at a strip club. Fortunately survived. He had an injury on his hand, and I think they said somewhere in his head. He survived, but they had to move on from him. And this is, wish him best of luck, but it just didn't work out in Denver. With that being said, Cortland Sutton's look at these games from Cortland. And this goes back to week 8 with Carolina. 8 catches, 100 yards, 7 catches, 122, 6 catches, 70, 7 catches, 78, 8 for 97 and 2 touchdowns. And then last week, 6 for 102. The stat line here for Marvin Mims, this is what I want to call out from last week, how good he was. 3 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. 2nd round pick, Sean Payton's first draft pick with George Payton here, and he finally had a 100-yard game. I was not a massive fan of extending to week 18. I was not a massive fan of that. But 17 games makes more money, so that's what they do. Okay, so we've looked at that. We've looked at some of these stats here. So we're going to pivot. We're going to transition. I want to look at Bo Nix's passing chart from last Monday night. You can see from 13, it was not the greatest accuracy night, as you can see. Let's see if anybody can see it. Yep. I'll zoom in a little bit. Make sure everybody can see it. Bo Nix on, let's see, that's really zoomed in. 18 of 35, 294, 5 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. So as you can see here, there's actually a better passing chart I could find. Okay. Give me 1 second. week 13. And Bo Nix. Let's see here. Yeah, so 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 294 yards. We'll see what happens this week. But I do think, let's take a question here from, it's taking me, there we go. Yep, he 24 years old, married, played 60-some games in college. So good quarterback. Very mature for his age. Let's see here. So, real quick, let's pivot. Let's pivot out of the Broncos for a couple seconds here, and let's bring in the review from last week. All right, so last week's NFL scores for week 14. Let's see here. Let's see, week 14. Dadgummit. Games. Let's go to schedule, and let's go to week 14. All right, so week 14 is in the books now. The Thursday night game last week was, let's see here, the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. The Lions defeated the Packers 34-31. Big moments in the game was, let's see here, the scoring drive at the end, where let's see here, where the Lions went for it on 4th down when they were in field goal range. Yeah, I mean, that's something Dan Campbell likes to do. He likes to go for it on 4th down. He's a massive fan of doing that. Let's go to the next game. We had, try not to show any NFL footage. So you got the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. This went to overtime. The Dolphins defeated the Jets. The Dolphins needed a touchdown at the end to get back in the game. And nope. So here's the overtime touchdown. It was to A-Chain. That's the first quarter, actually. So let's come back here. The Jets scored a field goal to send it to overtime. And then it was Tua to Justin Smith for 10 yards and a touchdown for the Dolphins to keep their playoff hopes alive. So, so we've got that. Let me see if I can get back to the games. Let's do it this way. All right, week 14. So Minnesota destroyed Atlanta on Sunday. That was a 5-touchdown game from Sam Darnold. I was talking to someone this week about it at the gym, and I was like, man, you talk about a quarterback who a lot of people had for dead in Sam Darnold, and he ended up refinding himself in Minnesota. It was more what he did in San Francisco that got him the next deal, being, reclamation project with Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Pretty impressive. This game was interesting. It was 14-11. The Saints defeat the Giants. I almost feel like the Giants threw the game. It was a field goal was blocked at the end by Brian Bresee, and the New Orleans Saints, who have won, I think, pretty much every game since firing Dennis Allen, and the Giants, they did cover. I'll get to some of the comments. Sorry, I'm not reading the comment section at the moment. Sorry. So my apologies. I'll get back to them. And this game over here, the Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. That was another close game. Panthers had a chance at the end there on a 4th and 10. Threw a pass to Adam Thielen. It was intercepted. Bryce Young has been played really well since I saw him in Denver. But he's improving. I don't know if he's the guy for Carolina, but I will say I think he's improved drastically since being benched. Pittsburgh defeats Cleveland. Cleveland could not match the Jameis Winston magic of throwing 500 plus yards. Pittsburgh wins that game and takes a 2-game advantage over Baltimore in the AFC North. And you got Tampa Bay defeated the Raiders in a rematch of the Super Bowl from 2002. No, not even close. The two teams are completely different. Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks are now in first place in the NFC North or South. The Falcons have faltered. We'll go over the NFC standings here shortly. But with that being said, you've got Jacksonville defeated Tennessee. This game was interesting. You had Mac Jones at quarterback since Trevor Lawrence has been knocked out based on his hip injury he got last week from Shazier from the Texans. Titans had a chance in this game. It was 10-6. The Titans decided to go for it on 4th down in the red zone. It was stopped. And I guess maybe they could have taken a field goal. They had 3 timeouts. They decided to go for the win. That's a tough call. I don't know how you feel about that either way, but they were unable to pick up the victory. They got the ball back and 3 and out, and they were done. And that's really that was probably the most unwatchable football game of the weekend, but I had to suffer through it, so we're going to talk about it. And then the 4 o'clock window, I actually underrated this window based on this Buffalo Rams game. What a game. The Rams actually play here in about 30 minutes. They play on the 49ers. Buffalo, look at that, 42-44. Josh Allen really went off in that game. Matthew Stafford's got Pua Kanukua back. Cooper Kupp is still going there. The Rams look very viable. The Seahawks are still in first place in this division. The Arizona Cardinals were in first place, but have found a way to lose the last 2 games. And then you got San Francisco destroyed the Bears. And then, of course, the Sunday night game was the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Los Angeles Chargers 19-17. Of course, that was a field goal to win it at the end. And the Monday night game was the Bengals defeated the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys 4-5-8. But yeah, that being said, it's not looking good for Dallas and Gary's Cowboys. So let's go look into this week's games. The Rams take on the 49ers tonight. Your 1 o'clock slate on NFL and Fox. You've got Dallas Cowboys taking on the Carolina Panthers. Then you have the Chiefs at the Cleveland Browns at 1 o'clock on CBS. CBS again, also 1 o'clock. You have Miami taking on Houston. Dallas, Carolina, no playoff implications in line. Kansas City still is the AFC West champion at this point, unfortunately, for 9 years straight. But they're still fighting for that number 1 seed. The Bills lost last week, so now they have a 2-game cushion. Chiefs will probably win this game. Dolphins and the Texans. Again, this is a game where if you're Denver, you're rooting for Houston to knock out Miami because in reality, Denver needs to win against the Colts and Miami to lose for Denver to lock up a playoff spot. You have the Jets and the Jaguars, the 3-10 New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers versus the now 3-10 Mac Jones led Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is coming back this year. I don't have that officially, but it looks like Mac Jones versus Aaron Rodgers for your non-viewing pleasure. And you got 1 o'clock on Sunday, Washington, New Orleans. Jaden Daniels, LSU grad, coming down to the Big Easy to play another game. In the other 1 o'clock game, Baltimore and the Giants. And this is a rematch of the 2000 Super Bowl. No, it's really not. The Giants are horrific. They're probably trying to tank for Shedeur Sanders or maybe Travis Hunter. We don't know where that's going to go. I had a conversation with a Giants fan about that today. Baltimore needs to win this game to maintain the distance between them and the Steelers in the AFC North. Another 1 o'clock kick, you got Cincinnati and Tennessee. And then your 4 o'clock slate. Patriots at the Cardinals. Drake May's played a lot better for the Patriots. He's come in and, he's pretty young going against Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. That game, there's no real playoff implications on that except for Arizona. They need to keep winning to keep themselves viable in the NFC West. 425, your Denver Broncos take on the Indianapolis Colts. We've already talked about how massive that game is. And this is going to be game of the week. The Buffalo Bills taking on the Detroit Lions. At 425, it's a CBS game. It'll probably be Jim Nance and Tony Romo. And then the 425 Fox game, you're looking at Tampa Bay and the Chargers. And here's another massive game in the 425 window. The Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll probably have Tom Brady on the call. I wonder if that actually says that. Who's on the call? Fox. Nope. Game info. Let's see. Yeah, I can see coming in here. Look at this. The Eagles are 31st in the league in passing, the pass defensive, but number 1 in rush defense. Interesting. Anyway, in Monday Night Football, you have – I just lost it. It was just up there. All right, here we go. Monday Night Football, week 15. We are looking at week 15 with the Chicago Bears taking on the Minnesota Vikings. There we go. All right, so I've done that. I'm about to get in my picks for this week. But let's do one quick more thing. Let's go look at the NFC East standings. I don't believe we did that. NFL standings. Let's do this. It's a little quicker. All right. Let's see if you guys can see this. What can you see? Why are we not doing that? All right. Stop. Present. Share. And boom. There we go. All right, so we already talked about the AFC earlier in here. In this, this is a little bit better because we can see who's been eliminated. The Jets have been eliminated. The Patriots have been eliminated. The Browns are eliminated. Titans and Jags are eliminated, and the Vegas Raiders. So you see what the Bengals are sitting there at 5-8, but the chances are very slim. But let's go look at the NFC. Very, very interesting what's going on here. You've got the Eagles have clinched a playoff berth. The Lions have clinched a playoff berth. Vikings are 11-2 sitting there. The Eagles are probably going to win the NFC East. The Commanders are probably looking at a playoff spot. You could almost check that right now. Over here, Minnesota, they're a game back. You could check them in the playoffs. Green Bay 9-4. Unless the wheels fall off, they're going to be in the playoffs. And here's where it gets interesting, because now I basically there's 3 spots left. The 2 division winners. You got Tampa Bay here at 7-6 with the Falcons at 6-7, and now really kind of back in it. Even though Derek Carr is now going to be out, I believe for the year. He broke something in his non-throwing hands. So the Saints will probably be out. He will probably be out of the playoff hunt because I don't think they have a quarterback that can win them 4 straight games. But they're still in it mathematically. But Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals. Again, that's why tonight's Rams-49ers game is so huge. The winner of that game, I would argue, is still going to be in the playoffs, and the loser might be looking at the outside looking, especially if San Francisco loses. If San Francisco gets that 8 loss tonight, who knows? But anyway, needless to say, let's do this. I'm sure. Let's go. This was present. My week 15 picks of the week. All right. And they're not against the spread. I don't really do gambling. It's not really my thing. But yeah, so let's take a look here. If anybody can see that. All right. For Thursday night, I went for the Rams to beat the 49ers. This Sunday, I went with Kansas City to beat Cleveland, Cincinnati to beat Tennessee, Washington to beat New Orleans, Baltimore to beat the Giants, Dallas will win against Carolina. I got the Jets beating the Jags, and then I've got Houston winning. So the only home team I have winning in the 1 o'clock fixtures is the Houston Texans. All right. 425, got Denver winning that one, naturally. I have Detroit beating Buffalo. The home team, I'm sure the line's probably 2.5. Pittsburgh, I have Philadelphia winning that one. I have Arizona beating New England. And then I have the Chargers beating Tampa Bay. And then Green Bay beating Seattle on the Sunday night game. 2 Monday night games this week. I completely forgot. Minnesota is going to beat Chicago. And here's the one that I think is very interesting. Atlanta taking on the Raiders. The Raiders are not good at all. They've lost Aiden O'Connell. They've lost Gardner Minshew. But here's where it gets interesting. Kirk Cousins has not thrown a touchdown pass in 4 games. So Atlanta's not playing very well right now. I still think Atlanta gets the win, but it's an interesting, tricky game. If you betted it, I'm sorry, I would not have bet it. You took Chicago to cover, took the Lions to cover. All right. But yeah, so that's my NFL picks for this week. I think that's really about it right now. But yeah, so my final prediction for Sunday. Let's go through some of these comments, and then I'll give you my prediction. You went with the Colts to cover. Yeah, the Rams playing on the Raiders. Got the misses here. Yes, Oakland, right? Yeah, I tell you what, what was the NWA? That was a huge thing. The Raiders were. Let's see here. Marco's great. I figured it was due to a pirate logo and the fact that they always cheat, according to Lisa Simpson. Yes, that is true. Yes, Ice-T and Ice Cube. That is exactly. They're not really related. You use ice cubes for your iced tea. Lisa knows her NFL. Holly says the Broncos are favorites to defeat the Colts, according to BetMGM odds. Who has more sacks this season, Broncos or Santa? Santa always. Santa is the sack king. Yep, I answered that question. Let's see here. Bo Nix ranks 5th in God, I forgot what EPA stands for. Environmental Protection Agency. I'm just kidding. That's wrong. Something passing attempt. I don't know off the top of my head. Broncos ranked 5th in rush defense against. And there you go. And stack the box against Richardson and Jonathan Taylor and did you copy that for somewhere, Holly? I'm just messing. I feel the Broncos, but I do think it'll be close enough for me to win the spread. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be it's not going to be an easy game for the Broncos on Sunday. Yep, Bo Nix is see. And all right, that's the comment section. Let's see here. I want to show one play real quick. We're not going to break any YouTube rules here. 95% sure we're not. But I want to show this play from Sunday. Let's see here. Let's see. We can watch this. Let me see if you guys see this. Let's do this. Gotta get a little better percent. Expected points added. Oh, thank you, everybody. All right, let's do this one real quick. Can everybody see this now? Let's edit the layout. All right. So yeah, this is a Nick Bonito sack of Jameis Winston. As you can see here, you got the safety up here. This is Jones and PJ Locke. That was still Jones at the time. McMillan, he's lined up here. You got Abram Strahm is coming to the game now to take on Jerry Jeudy. Cody Barton sitting here. Justin Sternard. You got Franklin Myers, Jonathan, Zach Allen. I don't know if you guys can you guys actually see the numbers, or is it too big or too small? see here. There's Jameis. So let's watch this play involved. This is Nick Bonito. You're going to watch 15 come in here. He's going to come in, engage the left tackle, 15 right here. Jameis is going to try to do like an option, and nope. And Bonito chases him back, and boom, there's a sack. Let's watch that one more time. If you guys can see this. Why is it bouncing? That's weird. All right. And lined up, and boom, Bonito gets him. So yeah, I don't think that'll be I don't think that's a problem. Really don't think that's a problem seeing that. But let's do one more play from Saturday or from Monday night. Let's see here. There's this pass from Bo Nix. Oh, this is against the Raiders. It's 2 weeks ago. Here's Nick Bonito's pick. All right, so this is the minute 52 left in the game in the second quarter. First down and 10 from the Denver 29. Jameis Winston. You can see here they're in a 10 personnel, no running back, one tight end, 2 wide receivers sitting right here. 8's going to go into a flat route. He's coming up here with I think this is a curl route. And Bonito is going to jump this route right here for 34. So let's watch this on play real quick. Pops up. Actually, it was Njoku. So coming down, and boom. And then he just takes it the other way. So good. Such good reading by Bonito. But the dots, the player separation. Let's watch that one more time. Bonito comes up in here. Little man-to-man. Coming down, and boom, takes it. Yep, so good. We will absolutely find out tomorrow, right? That is 100%. We will know. It probably isn't. I mean, whatever. I don't think so. I'm doing a reaction video anyway. But yeah, I want to thank everybody that's came by. Sam, Tom. They've been talking about doing kind of my own thing for a little bit now. Still doing the Arsenal stuff on Mondays and Saturdays with Gary. I'll make sure to put links to their channels for other things where you can see me during the week. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. Probably be a little bit more organized next week. I had a bunch of favorites tabs, and I figured it would work here and there. And I'll get that all figured out because next week is the Chargers game. That's a huge Thursday night game. We're not doing a watch along or anything like that, but I'll try to have everything set up before the game kicks off at 8:15 on Thursday night. With that being said, Christmas is coming up. Saturday is the road trip on Gary's channel for DWTT. Next Monday we'll the road trip Saturday, and then Monday night I'll be on Gary's channel to discuss the Arsenal-Everton game. And then next Thursday is also Slags in the Dark with Sam Greenwood, Mr. Tom. We're going to well, that's a big day. So we're going to have the top 5 Christmas movies, and then on top of that, I'll be doing this. But other than that, I would like to thank everybody that came by tonight. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Sam, and everything. And everybody enjoy the rest of your evening.